mismatch in your mind before taking up this particular role? Did it require some sort of convincing?
I'm just going to talk about what's in the trailer at this point in time. In terms of, you're reading too many things into it, which I will not comment on. Yeah, it is a situation where he seeks an understanding from his family, his son, etc. Like I said, there were some parts of the story in the script which was extremely unusual, but at the same time, I know for a fact that there are people and families in similar situations like how these characters were, and since it put me out of my comfort zone, like I said, it was important for me to do it.
But mainstream, we rarely see stars taking up such challenging roles, so that's why the pressure.
Yeah, no, I mean, if you notice, if you look back, since you said, you're nostalgic, I need to go back also to those days. None of those films shared a standard commercial format. In fact, somebody asked me today, why are you playing a dad? So I said, in 93, when I was 22 or 23 years old, I did Bombay, where I was a dad of twins. So I never thought of all these things as images or whatever. And as you all know, like Roja and Bombay were hits across the country. After Bombay, my next film was with a director whom I really respected called Bharadhan in Malayalam. I did a movie called Devaragam. So I've not been somebody who's, thought of what commercial progression for me as an actor would be, etc. It's important for me to have an experience that I treasure, I value also, and hopefully, take the audience along with me.
Arvind, प्रशांत ETV से.
Yes, sir.
जैसा आपने कहा कि मतलब इतनी सारी चीजें ऑब्जर्व की जा रही हैं, बहुत सारी चीजें हो रही हैं, तो क्या उम्मीद करें कि राइटिंग या डायरेक्शन में भी आप जा सकते हैं आने वाले वक्त में?
Yes, sir. Even in my 20s, I used to keep writing scripts and irritate Mr. Maniratnam with those scripts. So, because he's the one who taught me from the director's line to everything else, along with Mr. Santosh Shivan. So I used to keep writing storylines and scripts and keep wasting their time in those days if I look back. So I've continued that habit. I still write stories and scripts, and I have a couple ready to shoot, which I may, if as soon as I get time, maybe end of this year, next year, etc.
तमिल सिनेमा या साउथ सिनेमा में बहुत सारा कई हिस्सों में ऐसा हुआ रियलिस्टिक फिल्में बनती रहीं, लेकिन बहुत ज्यादा मसाला फिल्में ही बनती रहीं. आप एक ऑब्जर्वर के तौर पे कैसे देखते हैं? अगर
Are you telling me that Tamil cinema makes a lot of masala films?
ज्यादातर
No, sir. Actually, I feel that there's more progressive cinema happening in Tamil. Not to say that Hindi doesn't. Hindi also, I think, has created a lovely niche market, and you have a lot of films which are, different from the conventional structure. But actually, Tamil has a lot of films that have actually that come up. And in fact, if you don't have something interesting or different in your film in Tamil cinema today, it's not very readily accepted in a sense.
तनुज, आपके लिए जैसे अगर फिल्में आइडिया माने,
I think you've seen a lot of these dubbed films. The dubbed films are the action films which will normally get dubbed, but there's a ton of films that, like for example, I don't know if you saw Kaka Mutai, which won the national award. So lot of those kind of films that happen in Tamil cinema, which we are proud of. Sorry, you were asking.
तनुज, एक आइडिया है फिल्म में, तो आपके लिए आइडिया क्या था? और आप इतने यंग हैं, तो क्या आपकी जिंदगी से जुड़ा कोई बात है, कोई ऐसी चीज?
हाँ, ये मैं देहरादून में पढ़ता था. I studied in the Doon school. So from time to time my father used to drop me from Delhi to Dehradun. So the movie comes from a very personal space. It comes from the time when you are driving together with your father to school, and you can't have that conversation which you want to have with your father, and there are those awkward silences and moments during those things. So this is where the whole idea of the movie came from, and I just elaborated on that, and it worked out.
Is this film a coming of age film or a road movie, or is it based on your personal experiences alone?
It's a mixture of all those, if I were to be more precise about it. It's the coming of age of the kid. It's a road movie where the father son interact with each other. It's also a movie about understanding one another while you are going towards the journey.
Hello. Excuse.
I think this film has a very different audience और आज ऐसा टाइम आ चुका है कि ऑडियंस तो अपनी फिल्म के चॉइसेस उस दिन जब 6 फिल्में दिखती है फिर भी चूज जो उनको देखना है वही कर लेती है एंड वी ट्रस्ट द ऑडियंस टू काइंड ऑफ मेक दैट चॉइस सो आई थिंक दैट शुड नॉट बी दैट बिग अ प्रॉब्लम.
Yeah, excuse me, Arvind sir, you're doing a Hindi film after almost a gap of 15 years. So, is there any nervousness in you? Perhaps how will the audience react to the film and your performance and something like that?
Not really. I mean, in the sense that the same nervousness that I have for a film in any other language, I have the same nervousness for this as well. I mean, it's good nervousness in a sense that, I hope they see what we saw in the script.
No, sir, was the first choice of the film. The moment we sat down to brainstorm about it, my casting director, Anmol Ahuja, he came up with the thought of having Sir. And even at the back of my head, it was like, I remember Sir in Bombay Rosa. But if we can actually get him was the question. But once everybody decided, like, let's go with it, we approached Sir and it was a cakewalk after that, actually.
Arvind, here, straight. Here. You were quite a rage after Roja and Bombay. What was that turning point in your life which made you walk away from this fame that you had at that time?
See, actually, I never wanted to be an actor, and I was a reluctant actor. But the process of making the film was what I really enjoyed. The attention that came with success was something that made me very uncomfortable. I was not prepared for it. I was not ready. I was in my early 20s at that time.
But you never enjoyed that success. Are you trying to say that?
I enjoyed the success. I didn't enjoy the attention.
Okay.
I mean, I want you to see my film, but leave me alone. It's like that. So, it's like if you think all your life, you think that you want to be a star and you want to perform, etc., then that is something that you would enjoy. But I was very unprepared for what came my way.
So adulation was something that you really didn't enjoy.
To know that
You did have a lot of female fans also. I remember, especially after Roja and. If you could just go back to those days and remember how was it like?
it was very stifling for me. So, it was not something like if I came out and saw, let's say, 100 people standing, it would make some people happy and proud. It would make some people want to run back into their house. I belong to the second category. So it is not that I didn't respect it. I respected it. It's just that I didn't know how to deal with it at that time. And I thought it was, as a lot of other movies started coming, it was only getting bigger, and in a sense that it was, I felt that I had that window of time to make a choice and do things in my life that I wanted to do, and feel comfortable again in a sense. So I did all those things that took me to that point, and now I'm very comfortable. I'd like to meet and greet people. Personally, I think I'm a bit of a recluse, so those two things don't go together. So.
Censor board has become a bit tough these days. Any issues with the censor as far as this film goes?
It's not my problem, actually. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's the producer's problem, right?
It's a very sweet family film. It is just meant for a mature audience, but it doesn't have anything for.
So is it UA? What is the certificate that?
We're still certifying. So, yeah.
Okay.
Excuse me? Were there any auditions for the boy characters? Yeah, for the kid we had a couple of auditions. We had a few, and Himanshu, finally the one we picked, he nailed the audition perfectly. He brought with him that naivety of youth, that kid who is just growing up and is that doldrum age where he can't understand what's happening and what he wants, and that maturity which comes after he understands where his father is coming from and where he is headed. So yeah, he perfectly nailed it at that point.
I want to ask a question. So, we know we have a rough idea about the complexity that the film has. So, is it because of that complexity that you didn't think of it an option for Tamil films, or is it
Not really. It was meant to
unrelated?
be a Hindi film. It was not meant to be a Tamil. Like for example, and I also believe, see, in those days when I used to act, and once Roja and Bombay became successful, what used to happen was every film that I did in any language used to get dubbed in other languages. And you're not making the film for certain audiences in a sense, not because of the subject or not because of all that, because visually it's different, right? I mean, you're working with actors and co-actors who are speaking another language. There's no lip sync. Everything goes. It doesn't look like a straight language film in a sense. So unless you're making it like a bilingual, and these guys didn't have a plan to do that at that point in time. I'm very clear that any film that I do now in any direct language should not get dubbed in other languages, because I feel then the audience sometimes does not know that it's a dubbed film. Then they see a lot of things that are a little alien visually or even audio-wise, whatever. It doesn't look like a straight film. So nowadays at least, you can contract and things like that. In those days we couldn't, or we never thought of it in a sense. So there was no plan, I think, to make it in Tamil.
Arvind, compared to the earlier days, I'm talking about the 90s.
Yes, sir.